Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. How are you doing this fine Friday evening? I am Jake Johnson, and this is Untethered Live on a Friday night. What's going on where you're at? How's the world treating you? How are things? How are you getting along? What you doing? Are you making money? Are you doing good stuff with your life? Are you just hanging out on a Friday night watching some crazy guy on YouTube? Could be. I hear you either way. I hope you're doing well. I hope things are satisfactory, and I hope you can't wait to get into tonight, where we're going to talk about movies to see, Star Trek and other sci-fi, and have a little chit-chat-a-tat, which is what we're good at, apparently. I have lost my voice, so there'll be no singing tonight. It's par for the course. It's happening. Hello, fine YouTube friends. Come on in. Take your shoes off. Set a spell. I'll leave a light on for you. I have my green screen halfway hung up in the back. I forgot to take it down. Oh, well. Caucasian Sasquatch. What's happening, my brother? Welcome to the show. How are you? Question mark. What is your question? And might I answer you? You really want to screw somebody up, start a sentence with an asterisk. What's up? Good to see you. Enjoyed your show last night? I mean, it's pretty sweet. So tonight, bring it on. Let's talk about some movies. I ain't got nothing else to talk about. Movies it is. Sounds good to me. Except I want to talk about movies from the 80s that don't get a whole lot of attention anymore. What's up, Total Blackout Painting? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back to the show. Glad you're a repeat customer. Repeat offender. You're a repeat offender. Aloha, which means hello and goodbye and green. Here they come, pouring in. I see them popping in at 8:35. April Rain. Dun 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 dun. April Rain. Welcome to the show. Hey, hey, hey. Good to see you too. My fingers itch on the inside. Isn't that weird? Nerve damage. I'm eating. Give me a minute. Okay. 1 minute. To which you shall be finished consumption and begin expulsion. Verbally, of course. I'm in a weird mood today. I just woke up from a nice nap, much needed nap. I worked all day today and I came home and I crashed. I needed a nap. You know when you get so old that you have to take a nap in the middle of the day to keep going because you can't make it otherwise? That's where I'm at. You need a nap. I vastly underestimated the value of a nap. Anyway. So, I'm sitting there with my son having conversations about movies. We're talking about movie logic. See if you can follow along with me here. We're discussing movie logic, and I brought up stuff like there's a point in modern movies where they jump the shark almost immediately, like in Fast Five or Fast and the Furious, rather, where they're in a car and they jump off a bridge and they hook the car onto a crane, and the crane's ball is hanging there, and they swing across the ravine and release from the crane and land on a building and then drive down the steps or whatever. Anyway, that's gone too far. That's the point where I'm saying, I understand physics to some degree, and this has taken me away from the movie, right? And I said another thing. Like when you watch movies and like when they hit you in the nose with the butt of a gun, you ever see that scene in thousands of movies? And the guy just gets back up and fights later. I was like, that's not reality. So you're lucky you're not in a coma at that point. Your brain basically reboots itself when you go unconscious. So you're out, You ever get hit in the nose with the butt of a gun, you're out of the fight. There is no getting back up and fighting. And at that point, his mother turns around, my ex-wife. She's behind him and says, everything you're telling him is wrong. That's not how you get in a coma. I work at a hospital, and that's not what unconsciousness is. Now, I'm having a pleasant conversation with my son and me together about movie logic, and this is what happens. Discuss. Tell me what you think. She says, I work at a hospital. That's not how things work. Well, first of all, you're a phlebotomist. I work at a T-shirt factory. That don't make me a model. And that don't make you a brain surgeon to work at a hospital. Second of all, I'm not particularly discussing the intricacies of brain biology with a 17-year-old. We're talking about movies, and I'm speaking in generalizations. Obviously, I know there's more to comas than being hit in the face and you go into a coma. I get it. But it's a generalization. Tell me what you think. How would you have handled that situation? And I'll tell you what I did. Keep in mind we're divorced, and this is a supervised visitation. To which I only get 1 hour, by the way, with my son per week. He's 17, and we're talking about movies because that's what he wants to talk about. So, discuss. I think it's funny, and you shouldn't argue with the mom because I'm a mom. That's not logical. I shouldn't argue with her because you're a mom. Well, if you say something as stupid as that to me, we're going to argue. I'm just telling you. We've known each other a while now. I'm not letting you get away with that shit. Mother or not. But we didn't argue. I'm saying she turned around and inserted herself into a conversation she wasn't involved in the first place to tell me I was wrong and telling him wrong things. As if we're having a lesson and I'm teaching him about brain biology and I'm telling him wrong information. That's the way she responded. Exactly, TBP. TBP. Total blackout painting. Nice naps kick ass. It's too ridiculous. I agree. LMAO. I'd pop her in the nose with a 38 and see how she feels then. Yeah. The thought crossed my mind. So she was purposely trying to undermine you. Yes, absolutely. The look on her face was like, finally, I got one on him. I'm going to turn around and correct him in front of everybody. That was what it looked like to me, which she didn't because I didn't say anything incorrect despite her objection. I did speak in generalizations. Clearly, there's more to it than that, but basically what I was saying, and I even used the word basically, when you get hit in the face with the butt of a 22 or something, you're not getting back up. You're out at that point. Oh, I know you were kidding, April. So was I, honey. Tone doesn't translate very well across these things, but you get me. Exactly. LOL. Look at my comment. I would have said, if I said your name, I would have asked for your opinion, and I will shut the mouth and continue to have a conversation with my son. Yeah, that's kind of what I did. What I said was, when she said I work at a hospital, my response was congratulations, and that's all I said to her. I wasn't about to fall into that trap. I could have argued with her. I should have argued with her. And I've thought of 100 things I should have said since then that I didn't say. But my response was to disengage. And then I sat there silently for the next 5 minutes, because how can you have a conversation when now you know somebody's listening to every word you say? And I did tell her, I did say this: if you're going to eavesdrop, at least pay attention. I did say that. You know, if you're going to quote me, at least get it right. Anyway, I've got 2 exes, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And I hear you. Yeah. Well, I think as adults, we all do that. We all do what couples do, that just out of the blue, because usually one's going to always be right now. And Jake, you're always right. I wanted to have one on you, and that's all. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. That's the way I took it anyway. She was listening to the conversation. She heard me say something that she thought she knew better on, and she got all excited, and she let it slip out of her mouth before she could stop it to correct me. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, that was probably a good response. Don't engage. That's what I did. Happy Friday, Fab Daddy. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you guys. I don't share much of my personal life, but that one was too precious. I just had to let her go. I had to tell you about it. It's been bothering me all week. So, because the nerve of some people, you know, again, not like I was trying to have a discussion about actual brain biology with my 17-year-old son while talking about movies. Clearly, I know enough about the brain to know that unconsciousness is caused by several reasons, including brain bleeds and, you know, subdermal hematomas and that sort of thing. Not always the case, though, but I will stand by my conviction. You get hit in the face with a gun, you're pretty much out of the fight. You're pretty much in a coma at that point, metaphorically speaking. I would have said, I was talking to you, and then turned around and then shut my mouth and continued the conversation with my son. I wasn't talking to you. Yeah. I should have said, A, this is an A and B conversation, and B, it's between me and my son, and C, see your way out of it. That's what I should have said. Or I should have said something like, you absolute waste of human flesh. If I had that tendency, I would hide it from my children so they weren't completely embarrassed by my existence. I should have said that, but I didn't. Regrets, yep. Happy Friday, Fab Daddy. Good to see you. Much love. It's good to see you all, and thank you all for showing up on a Friday. I appreciate you very much. It means a lot to me. And in the light of a good conversation, let's talk about movies that we haven't seen in a long time. Specifically and poignantly, 80s movies. What is your favorite 80s movie and why? I've got a few gems. I don't have a particular favorite because I've seen so many that position can no longer be achieved. For a while, I made it my absolute destiny to have seen every film ever filmed. And for a while, I put a large dent in it. But it's just not possible. There's just too many. They come out 10 at the time when I'm watching one. You know, there's just no way. So I cut the list down. Nothing black and white. Nothing considered a B movie. Let's just go with blockbuster hits. And then I even cut it down further to just named actors in blockbuster hits with previously big titles under their belts. And I've seen all those, pretty much. I'm pretty sure I've seen them all. And I've seen a bunch of stinkers and a bunch of ones that I felt like I was wasting my time watching. Like Toxic Avenger. Don't ever limit yourself. Yeah. Well, you know, it's just not possible. I just can't. I got other things to do. If I spent all my time doing nothing but watching movies, I would die before I ever got halfway. But that's beside the point. What really turned me off was about 2005, I started noticing a trend around 2003 that all the horror movies started becoming homogenized family films. That there was nothing scary anymore, that the rated R moniker meant nothing because you could see the same thing in a rated PG movie. It's just a way to sell tickets, that's all. And so somewhere along the lines, the studios decided to stop making art and start making homogenized, factory-fed, carbon copy cutout movies. If I made $1 billion on this one, we know we'll make $1 billion on that one. Let's just make the next one. And it ruined the movies for me. And then the woke thing started. And I can't tolerate that stuff. I don't want the message shoved down my throat. I don't want your ideology crammed into my head. I don't want you to lazily attempt to brainwash me. I want to enjoy a good movie. And that's all. Love, love, love a lot of them. Yep. All jump scares and no real plots. No really good stories. Exactly. Total blackout. It got to the point where I've seen movies that I could recite the lines to while I'm watching it, swearing I've seen it before, yet it says it's a new release. But I swear I saw this movie like a year ago. And it's because they're using the same sets, the same actors, and the same lines and putting different titles on the movies. It's carbon copy cutout stuff. Went from John Carpenter to J.J. Abrams. You're absolutely right. Went from mystery to mystery box, which is a completely different concept. Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's a good one. A little weird, but good one. Doing laundry before I go out to socialize. I hear you. It's important to be clean. Have clean underwear. I've known him all my life, and he's always right, you guys. Very much. He is always right. Love you, Jake. Wow, that came out of nowhere. There's a reason I'm always right. 2 reasons, actually. Number 1, I don't bother to say things that I'm not sure about. Therefore, I'm always right. And number 2, I do, on order of magnitude, a great deal more study than everybody else does, on average. So it appears that I'm always right, because when I speak with a certain amount of authority, because I know what I'm talking about. But that doesn't make me any more or less right than anybody else. That just means that on the subject we're discussing, at the moment you brought that up, I know something about this. That's it. I would have said, come on, son, let's make like a ball and bounce. If I could, I would. I'm not afforded that opportunity. No black and white, huh? Well, you know, I just don't have time. If I'm going to see everything ever filmed, I got to make concessions somewhere, and I might as well start with movies that are too old for my sensibilities. Not that they're not some great black and white movies, it's just they don't fit in what I'm trying to do. They've already surpassed their time. Now I'm looking at movies that are being made in my lifetime, for example. It's all so formulaic. Yes. Yes, it is. Buckaroo Banzai. Now, there's a good movie. Although, was that a movie or a TV show? I can't remember. I know it starred the guy that played RoboCop in one of his early roles. But I can't remember if it was a TV show or a movie. I love Carol Burnett and A Mama's Family. And she is Eunice. Peter Weller. Yeah, that's right. Peter Weller. I love shoot 'em ups. Anything James Dean, anything John Wayne. And I do like Daniel Boone. Wow. Those are older movies, but I do like a little John Wayne too. And what you're calling a shoot 'em up, I would call a standard Western. I like standard Westerns. I like spaghetti westerns from the Italian era where the actors didn't always know the same language, but they filmed it in English anyway. Some of those are pretty good. But my favorite of that genre are the trilogy with Clint Eastwood, The Fistful of Dollars. There's 3 movies in that trilogy. I can't remember them all. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, and I want to say Unforgiven, but I can't remember if that's it or not. Anyway, they're 3 with the man with no name, the character. Anyway, those are good. Yeah, the old westerns were fun. Yeah, it's hard to believe they quit making those. But I've heard buzz that they're actually talking about bringing the western back because they don't have anything comparable in today's society. Although I struggle to see anybody from today's society playing a real cowboy. Could you imagine, say, Justin Bieber playing a cowboy? Or anybody from the movies today? I just can't see it. Maybe some of the older actors, but Annie Oakley, LOL, the Beverly Hillbillies. Oh no, black and white. Well, Beverly Hillbillies was in color also. It started in black and white, but when they got a budget, they moved to color. I dislike watching movies more than once. I don't. But there are movies that I can't watch more than once. But there are movies that have that quality that you want to see it over and over. Like Spaceballs. That's a movie I've seen at least 100 times. And would watch it again. So movies, blockbuster hits, right. That's kind of where I'm at. It was a comic book they turned into a movie. What did I miss? Snark and Sass, what's happening? My name is nobody. Are you one of those fistful of dollars chicks? Hi, nobody. They're going to make a freaking woke Wild West? If they make one, it's going to have to be, if they follow the traditions in Hollywood at the moment. I don't know, but with movies like Nobody, for example, the new movie, and John Wick, it's easy to see how there's a trend towards the Western style that used to be. So it wouldn't completely come out of left field if they started making Westerns again, because they quit making Westerns proper in the 90s, early 90s. It's like, we're not doing this shit anymore. We're tired of horse shit. We're tired of cowboys. We're making a move for the left. We're not going to do this conservative lifestyle era anymore. So they stopped making those movies. The last was like True Grit and Young Guns were the last Westerns, Cowboy Way and things like that. Which are all good movies in their own right. But they're getting increasingly more and more less Western as we go along. So I kind of tend to think, oh yeah, Quentin Tarantino did a good job making a Western, which was, what was it? What was the name of that movie? Not Django Unchained, the other one. Django Unchained was good. But we're talking about, is it Crazy 8? The Crazy 8 or something like that? I can't remember. You know the one I'm talking about, filmed in 70 millimeter in the snow? Big, Hateful Eight, that's it. Thank you, Snark and Sass. Big cinema scope, make you feel like you're out in the wilderness with them. That was a great cinematic movie. Now, that's a movie using the language of cinema, which is something they rarely miss these days. Most movies don't even touch on it. But you can tell a story with cinematic scope that they just don't do anymore. If you want a good example of this, watch The 10 Commandments by Cecil B. DeMille. I think that's who it was. Yeah. Anyway, great movie. Great cinematic scope for its time. Spoilers, they all died. Yeah, well, that's Quentin Tarantino, so yeah. Buckaroo Banzai was a comic book. Yeah, but they made a movie or a TV show. I can't remember which. But it was a good one. I did see that, but it's been so long I don't remember any of the details about it. They did, says April. They did. Movie. Tragedy like Shakespeare. I like Shakespeare in its original format. I like to watch it in plays. I do not like it when they transpose it into movies because it doesn't translate well. And very few people have the chops to pull off Shakespeare properly with gravitas. So most of the Shakespeare-esque movies, that being said, almost all movies are based on one of the Shakespearean plays. But the Shakespearean plays are based on the hero's journey or one of the tropes from those days, comedy, tragedy, Greek storytelling. So there's nothing new under the sun is what I mean by that. They've been doing the same 5 movies for the past 200 years in different various forms. And you don't get a whole lot of originality. And when you do, it stands out. I'll give you an example. The movie Extra. Has anybody seen that? It's a completely nonsensical sci-fi movie that's very hard to follow, but it's unique. I'll give you that. There ain't nothing else like it. It is a story unto itself. And if you watch it, you will be affected by it. It will change the way you see things. But I caution you, it is frightening because that was back when they made movies that were scary. Although you have to watch it with the 80s mentality because things that were scary then aren't scary now. So you have to kind of transpose your mind, suspend your disbelief, and do a little adjustment so that you can be prepared to watch the movie. Best movie franchise ever, Bill and Ted. 69, dude. Well, best movie and sequel ever. The third movie sucked, and I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. All his plays are tragedy. Well, not necessarily. I see why you think that, though. And that may be one way to look at it. Reading is better. Well, reading is better because nobody can film it like you can imagine it. Watch your mouth. Whose mouth are we watching? Mine? Man, that's not likely. Yeah, nobody can film it like you can imagine it. So when you get into a book and you start to flow and you start seeing what you're reading, there's very few things that do. But that's why Hitchcock was so good, because he filmed like people read. He didn't actually show you the monster. He left it to your imagination. And so anything that you fill in, way better than anything they could come up with. The third was perfect, exactly what we needed. I hear you. Well, you're welcome to that opinion. When stacked up against the first and second one, though, it pales in comparison. I'm sorry, it just does. They tried. And with what they had to work with, they did a good job. But that movie came out in the height of wokeness, and there wasn't a lot they could do. We listen to audiobooks in the car while driving. That's not a bad idea. I can see why that would be interesting. Especially if you get one of those audiobooks that has a real lively reader and he puts character to the different characters. I like that. I think The Rock was nothing like James Bond. Sasquatch, get him. I agree with you, Fab Daddy. I don't think it was a James Bond movie either, although I do see why they drew lines. Gobbledygook. Gobbledygook. That's a good word. Now, In terms of trilogies, I would stand by the statement that Back to the Future probably has the best sequel ever filmed, hands down. It's really hard to beat that. Maybe Terminator 2, maybe. But as far as taking what the original did and making it different, better, without jumping the shark, Back to the Future did it in spades. Maybe Terminator. That was a good sequel. It made more money than the original for sure. And so in terms of box office, it definitely was a better sequel. But in terms of just filmography, just making a good movie, I think Back to the Future wins. Oh my God, I love some James Bond, but the first one was pretty good. Which first one? Are you talking about the black and white first one, or the first one with Sean Connery? Because Sean Connery was not the first James Bond. He's just the first in that franchise. Hell yeah, Back to the Future, bravo. I agree. I think Back to the Future has the best sequels. And they did it 3 times, and all 3 times they managed to cover new ground in a new direction without jumping the shark. David Lynch Dune movie was wild. David Lynch Dune movie, you have to smoke some DMT to watch that movie and get something out of it. Otherwise, you're watching space aberrations birth other space aberrations. Weird. And for some reason, they keep whispering to themselves. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but the first time I saw it, I was like, what in the hell am I watching? This ain't like Star Trek. I will say that the Villeneuve Doom, the new one, is okay. They did a good job of what they had. Although, never have I seen a circumstance where the dude made a movie with the idea that he was going to get a sequel in mind so strongly as this one. This guy made the movie where unless he gets a sequel, you can't understand the whole movie. Because he left a lot out. New Dune made more sense. And it did make sense. It was easier to follow, for sure. I love all the true docs of singers. Yeah, documentaries can be fun. What do you think about biopics? Or if you're British, biopic. Which makes no sense. Because biopic means to see out of both eyes, and biopic is 2 words. But whatever. I tend to not like biopics because they take too much creative license, and you can't trust what you're seeing on film. That being said, there have been a couple of good ones. The Elvis was a good movie. Totally unfactual, but good. The new Dune follows the book better. Still leaves a ton out, but it's still pretty good. I agree with that. Yeah, they left a lot out. Like I said, this guy was intending on having a sequel. I mean, when you watch the movie, it just stops. It don't have an ending. It just stops. And you're like, where's the rest of the movie? Oh, it's in the sequel. Are you sure you're getting a sequel? I have to get a sequel. It's a trilogy. I don't know if Hollywood works that way. Are you sure? I have to. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder. Great Balls of Fire. What's love got to do with it? The Elvis movies that came on those documentaries, all those are great. I think of the others, of the book. Oh, the Rose, Honeysuckle Rose. There's another one. And Walk the Line was a great one. Absolutely great. Totally not real, but great. Oh, yes, definitely. Forrest Gump was the best biopic. Forrest Gump wasn't a biopic. But I see where your head's at. And Jamie Foxx as Ray Charles. That was excellent. That guy, Ray Charles, Not Ray Charles. Jamie Foxx, that's a talented dude. I've seen him copy several people, and he nails it every time. He nailed Ray Charles. He's nailed Mike Tyson. He's a very talented actor. I look forward to the next thing he's in. Forrest Gump, one of my very favorite watches. I watch it over and over again. Would you like a chocolate? I think it's life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Those must be comfortable shoes. Lesbian joke. Yep, he's come a long way from In the Living Color. I agree with you. But the guy, he can sing pitch perfect. Like he sounds like a concert singer. He can act perfectly. He can do anything. The guy's a real good talent. We need more people like that in Hollywood. Yep. And that film is a biopic of Forrest Gump. Okay. Forrest Gump, the fictional character. Got it. Shrimp boat, shrimp creole, shrimp cocktail, shrimp scampi, shrimp on the Barbie, shrimp boat. My favorite actor was Wilson in Castaway. I'm with you. Me too. Favorite actor in that movie for sure. My favorite actor. I don't know. It shifts, goes back and forth. I love Al Pacino in the 80s. I loved Bruce Willis for a little while, especially in the moonlighting days. I love, what's the guy's name? He played in Rain Man. Dustin Hoffman. I like Dustin Hoffman. I used to like Robert De Niro a lot, but he has turned me off so bad politically that I don't want to see anything else he's in, ever. Dustin Hoffman is one of my favorites, yes. Tootsie was a great movie, by the way. Did it way before Miss Doubtfire ever did. And did it better, I think. Let's see what else. I love Harrison Ford. Back in the day, one of my favorite movies of his is 6 Days, 7 Nights. You ever get a chance to watch that, you should. It is a great, energetic, entertaining movie, and you get to see Anne Heche's titties. I love all that Tom Hanks did, and I love Jim's movies, Adam Sandler, all the greats in movies with Ben Stiller and Matthew McConaughey.com. Topic when we're all those guys look great. Those are all good actors. Wouldn't call them my favorites because favorite means that they reach in a way that you really identify with. But they may be your favorites, and they're all good actors. But they can't beat Mel Gibson hollering freedom from the rack and chains in Braveheart. That was a level of nuance that's hard to come by. Al Pacino, when he says, "I'm a fan of man," in Devil's Advocate. Hard to beat that. Paul Newman, he's a good actor. Ron Perlman did the same thing to me. He's such a wanker. I can't watch him anymore. I hear you. I understand what you mean by that. I haven't followed his tweets and whatever. But Robert De Niro came out and said some stuff publicly that I don't think actors should say. Here's my opinion. I'm an entertainer. My job is to go out and play music for people, and I do this thing, podcast thing. On the podcast, it's a little different because I'm surrounded by people I know. But for the most part, as an entertainer, you're supposed to remain neutral. Your job is to entertain people for a couple of hours, not to rile half of them up. And when you do that, what you're saying is half of this audience I don't care about. Half of this audience I want to go away. And you deserve losing all that money if you do that. And that's what they're doing these days. They're picking a side, and I don't think they should. First of all, I don't pay you for your political opinions. I pay you to look pretty on camera. That's what I go to the movies for. I pay you because you act well, you recite someone else's lines well, not because of what you think personally. No one hires De Niro because of his brilliant political mind. Correct. Right. I agree with you 100%. Cool Hand Luke is one of my best movies ever. That's a good one. Paul Newman is the GOAT, greatest of all time. That's high praise there. I love Richard George and Jack Julia. Great actors. I don't know who either one of those are. I may know Richard George, but I can't remember. Lily Tomlin. Lily Tomlin's a good actress. Give Me Jake. That is the best movie ever. Mel Gibson rocks. Okay? He is without a shadow of a doubt sexy freaking man, okay? Well, he was. He's a little beardy now. Danny DeVito is actually a very good actor. I've seen him in some dramatic roles that he killed it in. Some of the best actors are comedians, oddly enough. I guess because they can tap into that emotional side. I'm trying to think of a really good performance recently. I'll tell you one that would surprise you. Sylvester Stallone. He's got a new show out on, I believe it's HBO Max. Might be something else. I don't know. Might be Hulu or something. But it's called Tulsa King. And this is the first time he's ever been hired to play a mobster, like, you know, the Sopranos type mobsters. And he does a very good job of it. He plays a man who spent 25 years in prison for not opening his mouth because, you know, he's a made man and he keeps his mouth shut. So he spends 25 hard years in prison. They finally let him out and he goes back to the family and they don't want nothing to do with him because he's burnt. So they send him to Oklahoma and say, you can go down there and be the biggest crime boss you ever wanted to be. But there's nothing going on in Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma. So he reluctantly accepts it and he goes down there and the first place he sees is a weed dispensary and hilarity ensues. So go check that out if you hadn't seen it already. It's a great watch called Tulsa King. Sylvester Stallone is unparalleled in his performance in that show. Jim Carrey in Man on the Moon was good. I really don't care for his comedy. I really don't care for his acting either, but he has done some good movies. Cable Guy was surprisingly a good drama, despite its comedy. Jack Nicklaus. You mean Nicholson? Jack Nicklaus is a golfer. Jack Nicholson is an actor. But yes, he's good. One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Christian Slater was good back in the day, but he's kind of cardboard. He's kind of got the Keanu Reeves effect going. You know what I mean? He's good at what he does, but he really can't reach out beyond that. Although, while Keanu Reeves is plastic as it all get out, when he does reach out, he actually does a good job. I've got so many faves. Pretty Woman, that's Richard Gere. Yep. And, what's her name? I can see her face. Redhead, Richard Gere, and sexiest man that ever lived was Elvis Presley. Yes, thank you very much. God damn it, I can see her face plain as day, but I can't think of her name. I got the CRS disease. Julia Roberts. Thank you, Total Blackout. You guys are saving me today. I'm back. Had to schedule a show for next Thursday. Awesome. Kevin met Sylvester Stallone. Interesting. I bet that was cool. He seems like a real down-to-earth fella. He's got 3 daughters and a wife. They probably keep him pretty based. I love all Quentin Tarantino movies, obviously. He's had a couple that I didn't care for as much as others, but in retrospect, they're all pretty good. But he's got a particular style about him. That's why he's entertaining. Not that his movies are particularly that good, but he's got a unique style. Gone are the days where a named director would make movies like Tarantino does, and you go to see his work, not the actors in the movie. That's those days have sailed. Now they want plug-in directors. They could just pick out of a box and plug in wherever they need them. Unknowns. I don't like that. I like the vision. I like to watch movies that came out of somebody's mind, that they had a passion for, and they worked and achieved it and got it made. Those are good movies, like Steven Spielberg, for example. Even his movies are suffering today. Notice that the Indiana Jones movie, he only has a producer credit in it. He is not in any way involved in that movie, the new one. So his vision is out. Neither is George Lucas, by the way. They're both out. They're just in name only. That's all Kathleen Kennedy going on there, who, in my opinion, has ruined movies. Spoke to him in a shopping mall where his wife was shopping, and Sylvester's wife shopping sweet, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Opie, Ron Howard, yeah. I don't really care for Ron Howard movies. I used to like them, and then I got a different view on life, and then I started seeing what he does. And that, when you know the trick, it's not impressive anymore, you know. So I kind of fell out of love with Ron Howard. But he's had a few good movies under his belt. More than that, he's produced a couple of good directors like Dallas Bryce Howard, who owes her start. Not only is she his sister, but she owes her start to him too. Sister or wife, one, I don't know which. Rob Zombie, I don't consider him a filmmaker at all. Although, one could say he has a style, for sure. Kevin looked like little Opie. Really? I don't see that. Opie was a little red-headed boy. Maybe I don't remember what Kevin looks like, but it seems like he's got an Italian look to him, doesn't he? You might be right, though. I don't know. You see him more than I do, that's for sure. He was very short. Kevin said that a great guy. They were very nice, and they talked for 15 minutes. Oh, you're back to Sylvester Stallone. Gotcha. Devil's Reject was a surprisingly good movie. Yes, it was. So was The Hills Have Eyes. Surprisingly weird. Kevin says hi. He's watching the game. Hi, Kev. Go Dogs. I mentioned this movie on Sasquatch's podcast. The Explorers from 1985. That's the poor man's Flight of the Navigator, for those of you paying attention. If you get a chance to watch that, it's a really good movie. Very fantastic in its storytelling, and something that I dreamed about when I was a kid. I really wanted to be that guy. starring the first Joaquin Phoenix, River, and a couple other guys from movie Stand By Me. A couple of those guys are in it. It's actually a really good movie. Very well told story. Yeah, man. River Phoenix. Yeah. Or as I like to call him, the first Joaquin. That was a strange family there. His version of Halloween was good, too. You think so? I kind of fell out of love with the Halloween franchise. It kind of lost me. Hey, Kev. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show. Enjoy that game. Who's winning? OMG, River Phoenix was a hottie. He was also 15. Pervert. I'm just kidding. I like all Anthony Michael Hall movies from the 80s. Yes, some of those were pretty good. And his more recent work is pretty good, too. I've seen him in a couple of dramatic roles that are quite well. Kevin. Oh, yeah, Anthony Michael Hall was great back in the day. One of my favorite movies was Weird Science. It was a good movie. Wasn't he in that? Him and that little wormy fella? Or he was the little wormy fella. Love, love, love Robin Williams. Man, such a shame. R.I.P. One of the arguably best dramatic actors in Hollywood, Robin Williams. He really knew how to lay it on. We got ourselves a bona fide sports update from Kevin Cobb. It's the championship weekend. USC versus Utah. Utes tonight. Kansas STA versus TCU. And North Carolina versus Clemson. Tomorrow. Tune in on Sunday sports. Are you ready for some football? All right. Chet turned into a turd. He turned into something. Bill Paxton. Hell of an actor. Love Bill Paxton. That's it. Game over, man. What movie's that from? Tomorrow at 4, Georgia versus LSU. Go Dogs. Bill Paxton is one of the finest bit part actors of today. It's a shame he died. I would have loved to have seen what he did in the future. Twister was a good movie. Alien, that's right. Total Blackout wins 10 points. Oh, yeah, love The Explorers. You saw that? It's kind of a dude film, but cool that you saw it. And also, it had that little bit with the aliens, which is kind of girly-centric. I can see that. Wow. Me too. Dream of it. Yeah, I used to just fantasize about making that thing, going flying off into space. It made sense back in the 80s that you could do almost anything with a Commodore 64. I'm going to make a Boise State painting for a neighbor of mine. That's awesome. Total Blackout, you got some fantastic artwork, my friend. If you guys get a chance, somebody that knows his page, put it in the chat so y'all can get a chance to go look at some of his art. If you want to shout yourself out, that's quite all right. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but if you want to type it in real quick, I'll accept it. Same goes for anybody else that's got anything to show off. You're welcome. Please do use this platform for your own edification. That's why it's here. Yes, me too. How many times Mike, Jason, and Freddie came back suddenly, got funny and stupid. I saw TBP's shorts. It's cool. Total Blackout Paintings Shorts. Yeah, he's got some good stuff, man. He sent me a couple of his paintings, which I've yet to put up. I planned to do today, but I forgot about it. But I'm going to use as background a couple of our videos just to show off his work. He's really good at what he does. Can I just make it like them and Louise, like Thelma and Louise, and end it like that? They're dead, you know? Are they? You don't know that they died. You just know they drove off a cliff. For all you know, they soft landed on the other side and were arrested immediately thereafter and spent the rest of their lives in jail. The movie cut before they left the cliff, by the way. They could have slammed on brakes. No, it didn't. No, it freeze-framed while they were falling, right? Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Forget what I said. They're dead. Huffers use spray cans. Good information to have. Please, come on. They escaped to Mexico. Yeah, they could have. Maybe they survived the fall, though. They were in a big old car. If any car could survive that fall, it was that one. You know, with the bouncy, springy seats. They came back as James Bond. Yeah. Thelma and Louise. Spent some time in prison. Yeah. That's a deep joke. You had to see another podcast to catch that one. Now, let's see what else is good eclectic movies. The Legend. You ever see The Legend? Tom Cruise's first big movie. Also had Ron Perlman in it. Ha ha ha. I know in the movies anything could happen. Yes. They all the time kill people and then bring them back to life. Well, we were just kidding. They didn't really die. You didn't see what you thought you saw. Both Thelma and Louise are hotties. That's debatable. I will say Gina Davis back in the day, good gracious. She didn't last long, though. She ain't quite so pretty anymore, but back in the Beetlejuice days, I'd love to punch her right in the mouth. Prison really changes a man. I was a short black guy once. Yes, as robots, Thelma and Louise. Ha ha. Damn it, I'm going to Mexico. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Wolf. Yes, she was good in that movie. Rutger Hauer had a ton of good 80s movies. Now you're talking. What was it? Hawkeye? Hawk something or other? You know, where he plays the swordsman and his wife turns into a hawk at daybreak and he turns into a wolf at night or something. Lady Hawk, that's it. Great movie. Very good fantasy movie that they just don't make anything like that anymore. If you don't believe me, watch the new Lord of the Rings adaptation. They just don't understand fantasy. It's like watching TikTok videos strung together. It's horrible. But in those days, they knew how to make sword and sorcery movies. And speaking of which, you got Red Sonja. You've got Conan the Barbarian. You got Beastmaster. Man, the plethora of really good sword and sorcery movies. Blade Runner. Yeah. Do that one that Robert Downey Jr. did in Tropic Thunder. I'm a dude playing a dude pretending to be another dude. What do you mean, you people? And Wolverine, wasn't it? Huh? Fifth Element. Yeah, that was a good movie. Very good. That was one of Bruce Willis's last great movies. I kind of miss that guy. I hate that he's got some kind of disease that makes it hard for him to talk and remember things. The last 20 movies he's done, which have been like the factory-type movies where they just bring him in to do a couple lines and then they shoot the movie around him. So he comes in and sits on a park bench and says whatever the hell he wants to, and they make a movie out of it. He's done those last 20 movies with an earpiece so that somebody could feed him his lines because he can't remember the words anymore. It's terrible. But I say, good on you, Bruce. Cash in, buddy. Make all those shitty movies you can before you go. Leave your family a nest egg. That's what he's doing. Same thing that Nicolas Cage is doing. Accept anything comes his way. Doesn't matter if it's good or not. In fact, he knows some of them ain't good. He does it anyway. Fifth Element was terrible and great. I could see that, yes. It had a lot of detail in it that most modern movies lack. For example, the trash in the airport. That is there for a reason, and you never even know why. You don't even know that you saw it, but when you see it, it makes sense. We're waiting for a 7. Yeah, poor guy, he gave a lot. Yeah, he did. One of the best movies, action movies ever to this day is Die Hard. They've been trying to emulate that movie since it came out. Which brings me to the next fantastic actor, the guy that played Hans Gruber, whose name escapes me at the moment. He was also in Galaxy Quest as the alien dude. And in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, as Sheriff of Nottingham. I'm going to cut your heart out with a spoon because it hurts more to it. Alan Rickman, thank you, Total Blackout. Man, you're batting 1,000 today. You need to just become my brain full time. Alan Rickman, fantastic dramatic actor and quite the great stage actor as well. He was a professor. He was Professor Snape. Yep. That guy. Missed that guy. Anything with Brad Pitt? Wowee, nope. Brad Pitt has made some terrible movies, but he has made some great ones too. Brad Pitt is surprisingly a good actor, but he didn't always show it. Total Blackout painting. Run. Antonio. Yummy. Antonio who? Banderas? With nasal necks. I got a ride tonight. Yay. I can drink a cocktail. Sweet. Don't crack on Brad. I'm not cracking on him. He just made some bad movies. You can't handle Jake's brain pudding. Are you saying my brain turns to mayonnaise? It does. Yep. Brad needs good direction, and he's good. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I think that is his problem because the movies that were terrible that he did had bad directors. Adversely, the movies he did that were great had great directors, such as the director for Fight Club. Fight Club was a really good movie, and it was deep, something that this world wasn't ready for when it came out. The concept that they were working with, very interesting, and surprisingly poignant for the time it came out. Yeah, he made Cool World, right? They were trying to cash in on that other animation movie with Roger Rabbit. That was the name of the movie, Roger Rabbit. And so they made Cool World. And it did not have the same effect. The movie was better than the book, IMO, in my opinion. Yes, the book was a little lackluster, but it had good concept. But the guys that made the movie really went all out in fulfilling and filling out that concept. Legend of the Fall was great. Well, if you were a girl, it was great. If you were a guy, it was a boring slog that you couldn't wait to get through so you could finally get laid. I'm sorry, what? Same thing with the English Patient, by the way. Just so you know, we will definitely sit through a total chick flick to get laid. Yes, of course. Of course. There ain't many movies we can handle otherwise. So, what else do we have? A good set of movies can be the soundtrack to your life. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell who a person is by the movies they keep and by the movies they watch. A River Runs Through It. Tom Skerritt and Brad Pitt. Yes. Meet Joe Black was a surprisingly good movie. Although he played it deadpan and almost showed no emotion through the whole thing, it was surprisingly a good movie. Once We Were Soldiers was a tearjerker. Did you know that Brad Pitt was in Thelma and Louise? Benjamin Button. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was a great movie. My favorite. That is a good movie. It's part of a trilogy of other good movies. Yes, and I love Kevin Bacon, too. His stuff is excellent. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins was great in Meet Joe Black. Anthony Hopkins is one of those actors. He's great in everything he is in. Doesn't matter if it's any good, the movie. His role is great. He was good in The Avengers as Odin. Anthony Hopkins is just the man. He really knows how to bring gravitas to the stage or to the camera. Now, Kevin Bacon, on the other hand, was in Tremors and in Hollow Man, which was underrated. That was a Paul Verhoeven movie, believe it or not. His last Hollywood outing was Hollow Man, and it did so poorly at the box office that he quit making movies in Hollywood, and I submit to you that that was a travesty to Hollywood because Paul Verhoeven made the greatest movies of all times. He was classic director. I mean, he knew how to make movies. And he knew how to put a message out there. He knew how to use the movie to say something about society. He did Total Recall. He did Starship Troopers. He did RoboCop. He did one of those Rutger Hauer movies. I can't remember which one it was. Yes, Fistful of Dollars and a Few More Dollars. And The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. That's the trilogy. Starship Troopers was really good, and it was satirical, only you might not have got that when you first watched it because it seemed like it was a pro-America movie. But then when you watch it again and you realize that he's being satirical, then you're like, oh, this is about fascism. It ain't about aliens. Al Pacino, absolutely. Yeah. But Paul Verhoeven is one of those favorite director type directors. You know what I mean? In Starship Troopers, there was a girl that was married to Charlie Sheen for a while. The girl with the big eyes. Can't remember her name. Anyway, it called for a scene for her to be naked. And she's like, I don't want to get naked. I don't see what it has to do with the movie. And Paul Verhoeven was like, well, that's how I wrote the script, so you got to get naked. And she's like, I'll get naked if you get naked. So he did. And he filmed the whole scene naked with her. That's a director that commits to his part. Anyway, I appreciated that little story about him. They were puppets. No. If we're talking Kowalski ripoffs, Nobody. Yeah, Nobody was a good movie. Kurosawa ripoffs. Kurosawa is one of those filmmakers that was really great. But nobody here would know who he was unless they follow that specific samurai type thing. Denise Richards, thank you. Man, you are nailing it tonight. Total blackout painting. Shout out. Dina Meyer. Gwyneth Paltrow was second pilot. Huh. Was she? I didn't know that. Anyway, Denise Richards is who I was talking about. And he totally did a scene naked with her so that she would feel comfortable getting naked in the scene, which I thought was brilliant. Because he was an old, droopy man and had no qualms about busting it out for everybody. That's just cool in my book. She was no one at the time, correct? She certainly didn't have any chops to hold up a movie set with her complaints about getting naked, but she did, and he did. So, problem was solved. Anyway, they were puppets. Who were puppets? Says Al Pacino, absolutely, they were puppets. What were we talking about? I couldn't give two shakes about Gwyneth Paltrow, though. She isn't a good actor in my book. He's talking about Dizzy. We have filmmakers. We don't have artists now. I agree. We don't even have filmmakers. We just got directors for hire. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And I miss the days of the artist because that's the voices you want to go see. You know, I remember going to watch movies because somebody made it. Didn't care who was in it. It was the next Tarantino movie or the next Robert Redford movie or whoever it was that made it. It was their vision that I wanted to see, like Paul Verhoeven. Paul Verhoeven has a completely unique style. You can see it across all of his movies. Look at Total Recall. Look at RoboCop. You can see the commonality in those movies. You can see that there's a particular style at display. Same thing with Starship Troopers and all the other movies that he made. He's a very, very good director. And he makes a lot of movies in Sweden, too, or Finland, or wherever he's from, one of those Netherlands countries. Anyway, he makes a lot of movies over there. And if you go watch some of them, they're pretty good. But they're a little more artsy. They're a little bit more European than what we're used to. So you may not enjoy them, but they're definitely good movies. And Rutger Hauer was one of his picks. He took that guy out of obscurity. And Rutger Hauer was a fantastic actor. Remember that movie, Hitchhiker? That was good. Or Blade Runner, where he played Batty. It's like Tears in the Rain. Dizzy. Dina Meyer was Dizzy. Gotcha. I got to go for a minute, Jake. I got it. Came up in the kitchen. Okay, I'll be right back. I want you to know before you get up for a snack that eventually I'll be right back. I hear you, dear. I watched Halle Berry get naked. Oh, yeah. Monsters Ball. You get to see it all. And some of Billy Bob Thornton, too. You get to see his balls flapping against her ass, which is quite impressive. That speech was totally improvised in Blade Runner. Well, it wasn't in the script. He sat in his trailer and wrote it while they were filming. So before he went out on stage to film that scene, he wrote it in his trailer. Yes. And it's better than what was in the script. Way better. And you can't buy talent like that. I mean, I suppose you can. That's what you literally do is buy talent like that. But you know what I'm saying. Talent like that don't come along every day. And I miss those guys. I'll be right back. Do me a favor. Watch this short ad while I go. And I'm back. Had to handle some business. Yeah. Oof. It's very nice, this conversation we've had, although we never reached Star Trek. Shall we talk about Star Trek? Anybody into Star Trek? And other sci-fi movies. Personally, I think they've ruined Star Trek. There is a slight reprieve with the new show, Strange New Worlds, but it remains to be seen. It is made by the same people in the same place at the same time as Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard, which are abominations to the franchise. So, it remains to be seen whether or not they pull it off. They've had a good first season. And I stress good because it could have been great, but they chose to pull back in some areas. They should have went full force on. But I will give them the benefit of the doubt and allow them to continue before I totally write them off. If season 2 gets better, I'm in. Because I ultimately want good Star Trek to be made. They just ain't doing it right now. They got the wrong people owning the franchise is the problem. They got the wrong people in charge. What they need to do is get this Terry guy that's making the 3rd season of Star Trek Picard, Terry something or other, can't remember his name either, but he was allowed to do whatever he wanted to, and from what I understand, has brought Star Trek back to a position of being Star Trek. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know that it's true, but from what I've heard, he really fixed the problem with the show. So if that's true, they need to let him be showrunner for everything from now on. After all, Rick Berman managed 4 Star Trek shows in his lifetime by himself with his one partner. So if he can do it, this guy can do it. That's what I'm saying. And he also oversaw, I think, 6 of the movies, something like that. The Berman era of Star Trek was arguably the best era of Star Trek to some people. Personally, I believe that the original series was the best era of Star Trek, but that's my opinion. I like Captain Kirk. What can I say? Just got done getting ready. If I stop chatting, it's because my ride is here. Leaving the phone on and running. Time to socialize. Well, you enjoy yourself tonight, Fab Daddy. I hope you have a good night, and I hope you get whatever it is you're going out for. And I hope you get lots of it and twice in the morning. Hit it one time for me, that's what I'm saying. Have a good night, though. I don't know. I don't either. I'm going to call it short here in a minute. It's almost the top of the hour. I got to get up and go do about 4 hours worth of work in the morning. And I've had a long day, so I'm just going to go to bed, I think. I don't even think I'm going to watch the news tonight. I think I'm just going to pass out. I hope you guys have enjoyed the Friday. It's a nice, leisurely, lazy conversation about movies. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you've learned a thing or two about movies, and maybe I've inspired you to go watch some of the old stuff one more time. Drag it out, dust it off, and enjoy your favorite movie one more again. The Next Generation was good, but it didn't start out good. It started out terrible, but they quickly righted the ship, and it was fine after that. That first season, though, was Roddenberry in complete control, and nobody liked it. And so they fixed it. They took his control away from him and relegated him to basically just a dude with a desk and no real power. And they gave it to the lawyers, and the lawyers handled it. And then it became a good show. So say what you want about Roddenberry. He didn't always have his finger on the pulse, if you know what I'm saying. I am visiting a U.S. friend that moved to France. Really? That's interesting. Are you going to France? Are you in France? Or are you just meeting them somewhere here in America? Either way, have a baguette. And they got rid of Wesley Crusher. Right. I love you true, Jake. Love you much. Thank you, sweetheart. Hey, please hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online and when my new videos drop. Smash that like button. It's free. It's right in front of you. It takes no effort at all, and it really does help our channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people. So won't you do that? Leave comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you dig what I'm doing, if you like it, or if you'd like to help out in some way, or if you'd like to be part of this thing that we're doing together, you can do that. You can go to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Every little bit helps. Or if you're a CashApp user, you can go to CashApp, $JakeJohnsonBand, and make a donation, and everything will be fine. Right as rain, and I'll put it to good use right here on Untethered Live. Now, you know that Sunday and Monday we have Bible study, and I want to see each and every one of you in the pew on Sunday because you need it. You need a good smack across the forehead with the Bible every now and then. It's good for your soul. It's good for your spirit. Makes you feel like you've learned something. And that's a good measure of a man, is to achieve something. And that's what we've been doing. We went through this book entirely already. One whole time through. 66 books. We've been through it. Now we're going back through it and getting a little closer down. Doing a little deeper of a dive. Breaking apart the important stuff more openly and seeing what's in it. By the time we get done, we will have a full understanding in both languages. What God intends for this world, what he expected when he made it, and what your job is while you're here, which is why we do this. Now, Enterprise was good, but the theme song sucked. I disagree, sir. I love that song. It's been a long time getting from there to here. It's been a long time, but my faith is finally near. I don't know the words of this song. I can't sing along. I've got faith of the heart. I don't know why I like this song. I got faith to believe. No one has to tell me I've got faith in Rod Stewart. Even though he ain't the one that wrote this song, I've got faith. Faith of the heart. Faith of the heart. That's just to mess with you. Anyway, yeah, it was a kind of a shitty song. It's not that it was a bad song. It was that you don't want to hear it every time you binge a show over and over and over again. At least follow the pattern and play something with horns in it. No, they wanted to rock out, and they chose Rod Stewart sound-alike. That's not who sang it, by the way. But that's what it sounds like. Nice. Please, I need some more positive. Are you lacking in blood? Do you need a transfusion? What are you saying? I don't think anything we've said today has not been positive. I guess saying movies suck is not positive, but wasn't intended that way. But yes, positivity. Lots of positivity all over you. Positively tingle you with positivity. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Maybe that helps. Nobody even said nothing about my new glasses. Oh, my birthday is in 8 days, by the way. That's the last time I'll tell you that, for sure. Just thought I'd let you know I'm getting closer to 50. I've got rats, and I felt gas when they stuck. I hate those sticky rat traps. I got rats and I felt gas when they stuck. Huh? I hate those sticky rat traps. Well, stop messing with the sticky rat traps and get you a real rat trap and break their neck like it ought to be, and then you won't have that problem. Stop trying to be humane about it. You're killing a rat. Go ahead and accept it and kill the thing. I mean, I felt sad, not gas. Jeez. No need to feel sad, honey. They don't have souls. I don't know if they do or not, but if it makes you feel better to think that. They got no business being in your house, put it that way. Me and rats are fine, but if you come in here, you're going to die. Simple as that. I won't go out there looking for you, but if you come in here, I'm killing you. I feel that way about people, too, by the way. Didn't notice they were new. And yes, what I know your birthday is December 10, okay? I already know that. Well, you're not the only person I'm talking to, honey. I knew you knew it. But there's a lot of people here that didn't know it. But now they know it, and knowing is half the battle. And I was just mentioning it because it's the time of month. Time of the year. I felt sad. Kevin gets them. I can't stand it. Well, they're just rats. Kill them. Be happy about it. And every time you stomp one out, smash its little brains all over the place and smish it around in your toes, think the Lord made me to have dominion over animals. Don't do that. Don't listen to me. I don't like rats. I don't like cats either, by the way. The fact that I have some is irrelevant, and I don't like them. They're assholes. But it's good to be good to something. If you don't express love, you lose the ability to express love, or to feel it for that matter. So it's a good thing to be kind to something you dislike. Y'all go check out AJot when you get done with me. She's doing it live right now. I don't like them, but it's when it's the baby that gets on it. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a little tough. I'm sorry you had to see that. Let Kevin handle it. You ain't gotta watch that stuff. He's a man. He can do it. But yeah, there's been a couple times that rats have made their way into my house, and I set out traps, and I sit and listen to it, snap them. Got another one. I have no desire for a rat to be in my house, or a roach for that matter. I will get my pistol out. I'm getting so soft. Damn, I don't want to be emotionally soft. Arg. Well, watch some action movies and get your testosterone up a little bit. And, particularly sweaty men movies like Van Damme. Watch some of that. That'll get you in a tough mood and you won't feel so soft. Watch Rocky get pummeled nearly to death and then overcome in the last minute and beat Apollo Creed within an inch of his life. And you just scream out at the top of your lungs, Adrian! Yeah, that'll make you feel good. Get those movies in you. I might go watch a movie tonight myself. I got some good ones that I hadn't watched yet. Needs to get done. All right, we've reached the top of the hour. Hey, when you go out into the world tomorrow, be nice to somebody. It's not that hard. Hold the door for a lady. Buy a bum a sandwich or a beer. Tell a Republican he's right and a Democrat he's wrong. Do something nice for somebody. That's what I'm saying. It'll change your life. It'll make you better from the inside out. It'll open doors you didn't even know were there. It will afford you opportunities that you thought were long lost. It will give you the gift that keeps on giving. The gift of reciprocity. Try it. You might like it. Give a little and you'll receive a lot. I promise you. Try it if you don't believe me. Have a great night. I enjoyed the conversation immensely. I can't wait till the next time we get to rant and wax rhapsodic about movies. I enjoy it. It's a good thing for me to do. I like movies. I might do more of this thing. Anyway, have a great night. God bless you and your families. Stay safe out there on this weekend and enjoy yourself. And I'll catch you guys on Sunday at 8 p.m. sharp, right here on Untethered Live. Thanks for watching.